Joining me now is Eddie Glaude. He's an MSNBC contributor and the department chair of the African American Studies Department at Princeton University, and Roland Martin, the host of TV One. Roland, let me start with you. I know you were listening in there. Just want to get your reaction to it. I want to move on quickly here to some economic issues in a moment. But what do you make of where the conversation is when it comes to immigration, when it comes to DACA, when it comes to Dreamers right now?
What you have is you have the Republican Party who is really focused on white fear in America. Go back to California, the 1980s, when there was this fear of illegal immigrants. And so what did? They passed a proposition that targeted them. Well, it's not like California has fallen off the cliff. The reality is this: America will be a majority minority country by 2043. The workforce in America by 2039 will be majority minority. What Donald Trump is doing, what Stephen Miller is doing, is pushing those particular buttons, and that is they are afraid of the browning of America. That's why you see this attack on immigrants right now. And so we must call it for what it is and stop dancing around it. And so they must be challenged on it. But what I need white folks in America to understand, you haven't been losing your jobs because of illegal immigrants. It's been largely because of automation. That's where a lot of these small towns have lost these manufacturing jobs. Automation. You're seeing it. The carrier jobs, gone. Harley-Davidson jobs, they closing a plant down because of TPP, Trump pulling out. And so they must own up to that and not be afraid of black and brown people.
Some underlying economic currents there. Eddie Glaude, this is something the president often talks about in an economic context when he's talking about issues of race and immigration. Let me just play a little bit from his State of the Union address from a few days ago.
After years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages. African American and Hispanic unemployment have both reached the lowest levels ever recorded.
I'll correct myself there. He's speaking at the retreat in West Virginia earlier this week, reiterating some of what he said during the State of the Union. He went on, Eddie Glaude, to express some disappointment that Democratic members of the House and Senate didn't stand, particularly African-American members of the House and Senate didn't stand when he talked about black unemployment. What did you make of what he's had to say here over the last week or two about black unemployment, as we've seen it tick up here with the latest jobs report?
Well, it's pure hypocrisy on the one hand. We can't really trust anything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth, and second, he's taking credit for something that he shouldn't take credit for. It's a good thing that African American unemployment is low. We just saw an uptick go from 6.8% to 7.7%. But what we do know is that the underlying inequality in the labor market has not been resolved. African American unemployment is still twice that of white unemployment. And when we look at the employment population ratio, we see that the picture isn't so bright. And what we do know is that under Trump's economic policies, that income inequality will continue to rise. So look, for every $100 of wealth of a white family, we have African-American families hold $57.30. For every $100 of income of white family, in a white household, African-American income is at $5.04. Nothing in Donald Trump's economic policies address that fundamental inequality. So this is the equivalent of saying I have a black friend, or look at my black friend here who's at the rally. It has no substance to it. It's just simply Donald Trump being Donald Trump.
But also we have to add this here, and that is a black college graduate will not make more than a white person with a high school diploma with a few college credit hours. So you have got to confront that issue. Also, Donald Trump's budget, he wants to get rid of the various offices that drive minority businesses. One of the reasons, I will tell this to Donald Trump, one of the reasons why black folks did not stand up, members of the Congressional Black Caucus, is because it was Secretary of Housing Ben Carson who issued a decree saying states did not have to submit their plans to end segregated housing. This year marked the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. Black folks didn't stand up because 5 federal judges in Texas ruled that voter ID there was discriminatory against blacks and Hispanics, affecting 600,000 people. The Trump Department of Justice has sided with Texas and not the plaintiffs. I can go down a whole list of reasons why black folks will not stand up when Donald Trump is giving a speech, and Donald Trump is afraid to sit down with members of the black media to even address these issues. He would rather go talk to folks on Fox News. If he wants to be serious about a conversation with black America, come talk to black folks, not talk about black folks to largely white Republicans in West Virginia.
I think that was an invitation for an interview. Roland Martin, thank you very much. Eddie Glaude, thanks to you as well, joining us from Princeton University this afternoon.